Good day, guys. I'm Levi. I'm a smart contract developer with over 3 years of experience in programming. Today, I'm going to be talking about the basics of blockchain. We are going to understand what blockchain is and what happens under the hood whenever we mention blockchain. Before now, there have been Web 1, Web 2, and currently we're in Web 3. During Web 1 era, the internet was just a read process. You just read to the internet. You can't write, you just read. In Web 2, they introduce write. You read and write. So basically, Facebook fall into Web 2. WhatsApp, Instagram, LinkedIn, they all fall into Web 2 because you can post, you can share idea, you can read. All these things are the characteristics of Web 2. Now, the problem Web 2 has is that the data is being controlled by a single entity, which is, for example, the Facebook. They control your data. They control how you interact with Facebook. So you can wake up one day and you see that you have been deleted from Facebook. Why? Because there is a single entity that controls and manages the data there, right? But in Web3, the data are decentralized in the sense that no one has a monopoly to your data. Like, your data cannot be deleted. Why? Because it is not controlled by a single entity. And that is what blockchain solves. So the ecosystem is a decentralized ledger. Alright, so the information, the data there are not a centralized entity. Now, there is another problem that this particular blockchain solves. And what is that? The movement of digital assets. Now, before now, or rather, even currently, if I want to send money to you and I want to send you $500 or Naira, what happens? I will send it to a bank will send it to you, right? So it's just me and you that are involved. I actually want to send money to you, but then we still need to call a third party before we can make this transaction. So blockchain is saying no, it shouldn't be like that. Financial institutions should be out of the way. I can be able to send you money directly without involvement of any other third party. All right, so this has become a concern over the years, and in 2028, a group of people known as Satoshi Nakamoto came up and developed something known as Bitcoin. So Bitcoin became the first blockchain ever that existed in 2028 by Satoshi Nakamoto. And what was the idea? The idea is simply to be able to move digital assets without the interference of a third party known as financial institution. So they also said in this paragraph that if you still need a financial institution to be able to prevent double spending, then the goal is not achieved. What is double spending? Double spending is a scenario whereby I have to send money to you and that particular balance I sent to you is still in my account. So what financial institutions do is that they prevent double spending under the hood. And that's why when I send you 500, they remove it from my account and they increase your own account. So that is also part of what they do. So it means that if you are going to be removing financial institution, we are going to find a means whereby we are going to prevent double spending, so that I cannot use 500 and send to multiple people and I will still hold that 500. So that is the essence of that's what double spending means. Right? So Satoshi Nakamoto, they are saying that if you still need third party to be able to prevent double spending, then we have not provided a solution. All right. So them launching Bitcoin, they were able to find a solution that we are going to discuss later in future on what pioneered the prevention of double spending in the algorithm. Now, they became the first blockchain, but after them, many other blockchain came on board. We have Ethereum, we have Stellar, we have Solana. There are many of them, right? So for the basis of our class, we are going to be focusing majorly on Ethereum. All right. So, but for this particular class, we are just understanding the concept of a blockchain. Now, a blockchain is a distributed digital ledger. That means that it is a decentralized ecosystem. It is not owned by a single entity. Now, they are a growing record called blocks. So these blocks are linked together through a secured algorithm known as cryptography. So cryptography is an encryption that cannot be decrypted. So unlike traditional database controlled by a single company or government, blockchain is maintained by thousands of computers nationwide, known as nodes, making it extremely difficult to alter, hack, or shut down. Now, there is something I want to show you guys. This is just the basic of what is going on under the hood of a blockchain. Now, it is a growing list of blocks. So it started with B1, B0, the index of 0, that is block 0, block 1, block 2, and so on and so forth. Now, this block contains so many transactions inside of it. The same as this block, the same as this block. So each transaction inside this block is hashed. Now, what is hashing? That will take us to another concept, but let me explain it very quickly here. There are two types of cryptography. One is hash and one is encoding. Now, Web2 use encoding. That is why what happens in backend is that you actually create a login, a password. That password is going to be encoded. All right, and using the password you use. So it means that it's only your password that can be able to decrypt that encrypted password, right? So encoding, you can encrypt and you can decrypt. That's encoding. You can encode and you can decode. But you see, what blockchain uses is called hash. A hash is a one-way algorithm. It cannot be reversed. Let me show you what I mean. Now, the Bitcoin uses SHA-256. Ethereum uses SHA-256. So if I type my name, Levi, this is the hash of my name. So every transaction you make on the ecosystem is being hashed. You understand? So this hash, all the transactions you make are being hashed into a particular block. And that block at the end is also hashed to produce this long hash string here. Then that string is passed to the next block, understand, as a property or as a part of this block property. So this block also has its own transactions. So together they are being hashed, and it is being hashed together with the hash of this block. So before this block is created, this one also produces its own hash and is being passed on to this particular hash. So you see that if you make a transaction here in this place, anything you do on blockchain is being hashed. So, and it's being linked to another block, and it's being linked to another block, and like that. The blocks are growing every day. It produces every 12 seconds. So you can see now that with this kind of algorithm, your information cannot be altered. All right, so your data cannot be altered, because for this particular hash to be altered, this guy has to be altered, this guy has to be altered, this guy has to, like, and of course there is no going back of a hash. A hash is a one-way algorithm. All right, so this is just the basic of blockchain. In the next class, we are going to be talking more on this block to actually understand more about it. Thank you guys, and I'm going to see you in the next class.